Tea Talks. I'm gonna talk about how poverty and hoarding are related while I do my makeup like girls I hate. You know, the girls who just tap on everything with their fingers and look immaculate with hardly any product at all. You know the types, like the Tower 28 girls. In fact, I have some Tower 28 stuff that I'm going to be using, not Spawn. Oh, and by the way, what's up, guys? It is your girl T, not Nappy, not Jojoba. Nappy-headed jojoba. You have to say the whole thing. It's like a Tribe Called Quest. I think this is my first filmed video of 2021, which is kind of a sad state of affairs since it's the end of the month. But I've done a couple of lives already, and I've done filmed videos for my Ride or Dies on Patreon. So if you like me and you want more content, check me out on my Patreon. I'm trying to get over myself with that reticence to self-promote this year. So yeah, if you want more tea, check me out on Patreon. Anyway, poverty and hoarding are cleaved, at least in my mind. And I realize that this hypothesis sounds completely counterintuitive, but roll with me. Let's go back to the start. I was doing a live stream with my patrons last night, or the other night, depending on when you're seeing this. And they asked me if I saw what was happening with Kim from For Harriet that day. A channel that I've mentioned a few times, so they know I watch her, and evidently on the day of this live, Kim was in the midst of being dragged on Twitter. And she was being dragged for having a housekeeper. As a logic and reason type of bitch, as you may imagine, my answer was, huh? And the fam was explaining to me that morons were accusing her of engaging in capitalist slavery by employing someone for pay, by the way, which is kind of the big issue with slavery. There was no pay, well, one of many issues, but you know what I'm saying. They were accusing her of engaging in capitalist slavery for employing someone to provide a service. Employing someone who, by the way, fam told me she's paying $55 an hour. That is a more than fair wage for honest work. I am not on Twitter, never have been, but the broad strokes of this whole debacle lead me to think that this is some misogynoir bullshit being driven by broke hoteps. The same guys who were so fucking triggered by a non sequitur in a Cardi B song where she says, "I don't cook, I don't clean." I was seeing men complaining about that for weeks. The boys were triggered, and these are undoubtedly the same men trying to drag a black woman for not doing her own women's work like cleaning and birthing babies. And worse still, for hiring a man to clean her place and being prosperous enough to pay him such a handsome rate completely by her own self. Kim does not need me to come to her defense, so I'm not going to do that. She can take care of herself, but frankly, who wouldn't like to have someone clean their home if they could afford it? The whole thing sounded to me like folks were mad because they ain't got it like that. For many people out there, there is nothing more repugnant than a black woman who don't want ya and don't need ya. The accusations sounded so nonsensical and unworthy of even being dignified with response. It drained me just now to even discuss it, but it tees up what I really want to get into. The fam was saying that Kim went on to clap back on a video or a live stream or something here on YouTube, which I will link in the D box. I will caveat that I haven't watched it yet, because I wanted to make sure that I didn't inadvertently parrot any points that she makes in that video. I wanted to come in fresh. Long story short, based on the video title that I saw and what my patrons told me, she outed herself as a hoarder. And I imagine that having someone to come in and help her keep her place tidy is part of how she keeps a handle on it. Now, as much as I don't really want to put this on the internet and have honestly danced around this reality for years, here we go. My name is T, and I am a hoarder. I tend to jokingly say things like I'm a bit of a hoarder, or just make vague references to shopping too much or having too much stuff. And to be fair, I don't know when a person is clinically classified, marked as a hoarder. I'm not qualified to make that determination. But I'm in the process of decluttering my entire life, and the sheer amount of things that I've accumulated and refused to let go of in a lot of cases, though I wouldn't be a candidate for one of those shows on TLC or whatever, I think hoarder is an accurate label. And I'm not the only one. Hell, I'm not even the only one in my immediate family. My grandmother hoards, my mom hoards, They're organized. You know, things are in their places in containers and closets, but it's an issue. And my ride or die, day one, OG internet cousin mentioned the struggle with clutter. During one of our Zoom hangouts, we were doing a Zoom hangout earlier this month where we were making vision boards, actually. We were making vision boards for 2021. And she talked about how she also struggles with clutter because that's how she grew up, in clutter. And I was like, girl, same. And then another one of my internet sis ride or dies, she was joking about how clutter is just a lifestyle for Nigerians. She and are both Nigerian. But the fact is, it's not just or my grandmother or my mom or Kim or me. Anyway, this somewhat ironic relationship, because really it's an inverse relationship between means and items that you own, that happens amongst working class folks, poor folks, folks who live hand to mouth, but then who also have a bunch of stuff piling up in corners and closets all around them. It really is quite alarmingly common. And I'm really speaking about people whose realities are lives of uncertainty, of insecurity when it comes to a lot of basic things from day to day, like having enough food to eat, financial security, or healthcare, or even freedom, because some cop might decide to arrest or even kill me because he's having a bad day. You know, I don't have those things and I won't have them tomorrow, but I can buy this hoodie today. At least that'll make me happy. It's like YOLO, but it's actually YOLT. You only live today. So just buy the bullshit. May as well. I guess what I'm saying is the video from For Harriet, which again, I haven't watched yet, really just that whole situation spoke to an observation that I've had percolating in my brain for probably my entire adult life, where if you grow up poor or in any type of environment where you are conditioned to feel a threat of scarcity, and then you pair that with a capitalistic society that conditions us to be consumers. We are conditioned to buy and buy and buy things. Often to buy things because of the price, not because we wanted or needed that item. How often do we hear people say things like,
I got this because it was on sale?
So when you pair a society like this, where people know that tomorrow is not guaranteed and they feel almost no control over their own lives, you create an entire race of people who function with a mindset of scarcity and who will therefore spend the little money that they do have accumulating things. As I always remind y'all, I am not a doctor, but I have heard of them. And I think this hoarding culture, which has been so normalized, I mean, just look at the YouTube makeup community alone. It's just a bunch of hoarders. Again, organized hoarders, thanks to the goddamn Alex drawers that we all have. Getting back on topic, in short, the thought process here with people who don't have much buying too much, in my uneducated opinion, the thought process is, who knows what might happen to me tomorrow, so I may as well buy these things that I don't need, but that have been made cheap and available to me due to capitalism. Okay, maybe the thought isn't quite that much on the nose in our heads, but you get my point. We shop to self-soothe. We buy things to assert some semblance of control in a world that controls us, that controls our lives. We acquire things and things and things and more things to feel like we have something, because we want to distract from what is truly lacking existentially. And then, because this part is key when it comes to hoarding, we also feel compelled to keep them.
I spent money on this, so I can't get rid of it.
This was kind of expensive, so I'll just make sure that I use it more often so I can justify keeping it. I can't throw this out or donate it. What if I need it later?
The availability of an ever-expanding universe of goods is critical to this equation. The capitalists, the ruling class, they employ us serfs to make all of this shit through exploitative frameworks, which allows them to sell this cheap ass shit at low prices but high profit margins. To who? To us. They're selling it right back to the same folks they exploited to make this shit in the first place. And don't get me started on the predatory and ghoulish nature of credit card companies, but they also play an essential role in this entire grift. Of course, hoarding is not an affliction of only the poor and working class. That is not the point being argued on today. I'm trying to get to the core of the prevalence of hoarding amongst folks who tend to live a life of lack. That profound sense of lack, that scarcity mindset, this chronic fear of not having enough tomorrow, maybe even not having enough today, I think leads to this oversteer and overcompensating with buying clothes or shoes or books or makeup or bags or just things. Things which serve no purpose other than to fill a void that sadly can and will never be filled with mere items, which is how the cycle continues. Having a bunch of shit can be a great way to distract from the reality of feeling like you have nothing. All right, you guys are going to have to endure the obligatory awkward slow-mo shots while I actually finish this makeup and do my brows and lashes, but here you can see how the look turned out. As you can see, I wound up adding some faux freckles. It started with me just filling in my real moles and the scant number of freckles that I have, and then I just got carried away. Also added some lip gloss, my nose ring, and other jewelry, and here we are. Just going back to the actual subject matter of this video, I would say that consumerist culture and consumerism directly facilitate this society of hoarders that we have going. I do believe that the prevalence of hoarding is a direct response to widespread chronic anxiety. Anxiety from being unfulfilled, whether you're unfulfilled with your job, anxiety over uncertainty for the future, and like most disorders or conditions that people develop, I just think it's a way to try to exert some sense of control. And again, to try to fill an emotional void, to try to soothe feelings of despair, anxiety, like I said, with things. Anyway, this is just a theory that I've had percolating in my head, like I said, for years and years and years, and it's only become more and more acute. You know, we hoard, and then the billionaires are able to hoard wealth from us hoarding bullshit. But now that my makeup is done, I'm going to go ahead and watch Kim's video, now that I don't have to worry about it influencing me or what I wanted to say in my video. And again, it is linked below. As is the makeup that I use. This isn't a very, you know, interesting beat, but I always link my makeup, and I can appreciate the irony of putting shopping links under a video where I am bemoaning shopping addiction. But if you are in the throes of a buying binge right now, use my links, please. Thank you so much. That is going to do it for a very dreary day here in so-called sunny California. It is looking like it's threatening to rain, and I had to bust out the ring light for this one, so that's why the video quality is even shittier than usual. So I thank you for watching despite the ring lighting, and I encourage you to stay safe, stay dangerous, and never trust anyone with a Morphe code. Bye-bye.
That's a nappy-headed hose there, I'm gonna tell you that now.